My name is Hannah. I was born in a small village in the mountains of Afghanistan. Our village is quiet. The nights are long, and the stars feel close enough to touch. We have no electricity, only the soft light of lamps and the golden glow of the moon. But even in that darkness, there was always light. The light of Noor. Noor was our teacher. Everyone in the village loved him. He was kind, patient, and full of hope. He said that books could change our lives. He carried a small lantern wherever he went. Every evening, he visited the homes of his students to help them read. We called him the man with the lantern. I was 17 when I met him. I still remember the first night he came to our house. The lantern light fell on his face, and I saw warmth in his eyes. He asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I said I didn't know. He smiled and said, "Then start by learning. Light comes to those who seek it." After that night, everything changed. I waited for his footsteps every evening. I loved the sound of his knock, soft but certain. He taught me words I had never heard before: hope, freedom, future. Each word felt like a small window opening in my mind. I didn't know it then, but I was falling in love, not just with him, but with the light he carried. Sometimes he would tell me stories about cities far away, where girls could go to school freely, where books filled big buildings, where women became doctors and leaders. I would close my eyes and imagine that world. He said, "One day, Hannah, you will teach. You will light your own lamp." I laughed, but he didn't. He just smiled, that soft, serious smile that always made me believe him. But the world around us was changing. The nights grew louder with gunfire. Men with guns came to our village and said girls should not study. They called it sin. Our school closed. Noor tried to talk to them, but they warned him to stop teaching girls. He didn't. Every night, he still went out with his lantern, visiting homes, whispering lessons by candlelight. One evening, I saw him standing outside my house, holding the lantern close to his chest. His face looked tired, but his eyes were bright. "Hannah," he said, "you must promise me something. No matter what happens, don't stop learning." I didn't understand why his voice shook when he said it. I promised anyway. The next morning, men came on motorcycles. They shouted his name. I watched from behind the door as they dragged him away. His lantern fell to the ground and went out. I ran to pick it up, but one of them turned and fired a shot into the air. I froze. The dust settled. The sound faded, and Noor was gone. For days, the village was silent. No one spoke his name. My mother told me to forget him, to forget the school. But how could I forget light? How could I forget the way he made the world shine, even in darkness? Weeks passed. Winter came. Snow covered the path to the school. I still kept his lantern beside my bed. Every night, I lit it for a few minutes. It whispered his lessons. I didn't know if he was alive. Some said he was taken far away. Some said he was dead. But deep inside, I knew he wasn't coming back. That winter, I decided something. I took his lantern and walked to the old school. The windows were broken, the walls cold. But when I lit the lantern, the room didn't feel empty anymore. It felt alive, like he was there, smiling in the light. I began to teach the little girls in the village, just as he had taught me. I used his old notebooks, his chalk, his words. I was scared, but I remembered his promise. Every time I opened a book, it felt like his voice whispered beside me. Light comes to those who seek it. Years passed. The war changed faces, but the fear stayed. Still, I kept teaching. Some nights, I would stand outside and look at the mountains, wondering if he was somewhere beyond them. Sometimes I dreamed of him, standing in the snow, holding his lantern high, calling my name. I would wake up crying, but also smiling. Now, I am no longer 17. I am a teacher, the kind he wanted me to be. Today is the first day of school after many dark years. The children sit before me, their faces bright and curious. I carry the same lantern he once carried. The glass is cracked, but it still gives light. I begin the lesson, but before I open the book, I tell them a story. I tell them about a teacher named Noor, who believed that light could never die. I tell them how he taught me under the stars, how he faced the darkness without fear. The children listen quietly. Their eyes shine. Then I say softly, I am a teacher because they killed Noor. But Noor is still here. I point to the lantern on my desk. He lives in this light. He lives in your eyes. He lives in every word we learn. The room is silent, but warm. The light from the lantern dances on the walls. Outside, the wind moves through the trees, gentle and kind. For the first time in years, I feel peace. I look at the faces of my students and see something I once saw in his eyes: hope. I realize that love never truly dies. It just changes form. Noor's love became light. That light became mine, and now it belongs to them. When I closed the classroom door that evening, I whispered to the wind, "Thank you, Noor." I feel like he can hear me. Maybe somewhere, in another world, he still carries his lantern, smiling, proud of me. I walk home through the quiet fields, the sunset painting the sky gold. The light of his lantern flickers in my hand. The same light that once guided him now guides me. And as I walk, I think of his name, Noor, and how perfectly it fits. Because even though he is gone, his light will never fade. He was my teacher. He was my love. He was my light. And the light is still here.